Looking back, I don't think 16-year-old me would have believed me if I was like, hey, you're gonna be the band in 5 years. God is not asking me to work harder. He's not asking me to have it all figured out. He's asking me to rest in him and follow him. You are so much more capable of things than you think. I've been really fortunate enough to have so many different experiences with Momentum. I mean, I've been on staff for 5 years now. My creative gifts are a gift that God has given me. My creative gifts aren't who I am. I guess I also just want to set the record straight. The band will be so happy to sign anything you want, but I just want you to know my signature is not worth anything.
Hello and welcome back to the Momentum Ministry Partners podcast. My name is Eric Miller and I will be your host for today's conversation. We are joined by the one and only Delaney Ferguson. Delaney is our Momentum Ministry Partners communication coordinator, and she is the person who's behind every one of these podcast episodes. She edits them, she pulls clips, she gets them uploaded so that you can listen to them. But today, Delaney is joining us on the other side. Delaney, welcome.
Thanks. Yeah. Here in person. Now I'm going to be editing this and watching myself. That'll be great.
I love it. I love the fact that you're on the other side of this and getting to join almost every single person who joins. We record on Riverside, and people who join, they're like, who's Delaney Ferguson? Because it says it's Delaney Ferguson Studio. And to our listening audience, no joke, I had to send Delaney the link to join today. I'm throwing her under the bus right out the gates.
Yeah.
She's just gotten so used to the automated system that she built for herself. And so here we are. She couldn't get in. So
it's okay.
Well, welcome, Delaney. I thought there would be no better way than to end and wrap up season 5 than with you joining the podcast as a guest. And for 2 reasons. One, because you're uber talented and super gifted and you wear a ton of hats, but also because you're leaving our team.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
Bummer.
Can you insert like a big trombone? Like, wah, wah.
Yeah, I'll do my best. I'll try to remember.
We're so sad. We're excited for you, but we're sad. Why don't you kind of share a little bit with the listeners about what's next for you?
Yeah.
And then we can look back. How about that?
Sure. So I am stepping off staff with Momentum. Very sad, but very excited for what's next. I'm going to finish school. I've got about 3 semesters left to get my degree in marketing. And then I'm also starting my own business with wedding content creation and getting deeper into social media management and behind the scenes. And just starting the next adventure. So it's a bummer to leave, but I'm excited. It'll be good for what's next.
Yeah, you're spreading your wings and flying away.
Trying.
Delaney, you started as an intern with Momentum right out of high school. You have run our social media accounts. You have created all kinds of graphics for us. You have created reels and TikToks and all kinds of things for if I've ever given you a Momentum sticker, or you bought a sticker from youth conference, or you had a sticker in your pro bag or what, Delaney has created all of that. All of our like merch line and a lot of those things, Delaney's been kind of behind. We have other people who help with those things, but Delaney has run a lot of that. She's the force behind the podcast. I know I'm just the pretty face, but Delaney is who creates this whole thing. And I know I have a radio face. And then the other thing that's been super fun is just a lot of the students know you because you're one of the vocalists in the Momentum band at youth conference. So super fun, crazy talented. And Delaney, I'm seriously, I'm sad that you're going to be leaving the team. And so on a Momentum side, at least, we're saying goodbye. On a podcast season 5, we're also saying goodbye. So we thought apropos. It was fitting.
But it's not going to be goodbye forever, like I'm going to be at conference. I'm going to be coming back. Momentum has been such a big part of my life in the last 5 years. That's just kind of looked like being on staff. And so even though my staff role is coming to a close, um, definitely don't plan on going anywhere when it comes to being part of Momentum as an organization. Still really want to be involved and serve however I can these next couple of years. So not
Good.
goodbye forever,
Good.
just in a
Well,
staff sense.
now we have it on record, and we can quote you on
Ha,
all of that. So, Delaney,
go ahead.
tell our listeners, how did you first get connected to Momentum?
Yeah. It's actually a weird story. Kind of crazy. I was just retelling this to someone. So 4 or so years ago, or five, I guess, 5 or 6. I was coming out of high school. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do for a career, and I actually attended Grace College Akron for a semester. And so, while I was at Grace College Akron, I got an email from one of the directors or something, and they said, "Hey, Momentum Ministry Partners is looking for a communications intern." And I was like, "Oh." I'm like, "I'm familiar with Momentum." I'm like, "I've been as a student for 2 or 3 years, and then in 2021, I volunteered on the band when we did Momentum on the Road. That was the year after COVID. So instead of doing one big conference, if you didn't know, we did, I think it was 4 like little ones. So, it was
Yes,
crazy. That was crazy that we did that.
that was
Um,
wild. I have
yeah. So, oh,
cold sweats and hot flashes and nightmares when we think about Memento on the Road. That was a lot of work,
yeah, it was
but it
great,
was a
but it was a lot.
blast. It
It
was
was
a
great, but it
blast.
was a lot. Yeah. So kind of already had met everybody at Momentum on the Road and got a taste a little bit more for behind the scenes of what Momentum did as a conference and as a ministry as a whole. And so about a year later or so, a couple months later, I got that email and I was like, you know what? Why not? I was working at I think I was working at a hair salon at the time, and it just like wasn't working for me. It was really conflicting with my schedule and how I felt God was wanting to use me, like in my church and my local ministry. And so I was like, you know what? I think this would be a good shift. And so did it, had my interview. I think it was with you,
It
Eric, and
was,
maybe
yeah.
Jesse and
Mhm.
maybe Carly. I remember there were a couple. It was a interrogation, but yeah. So yeah, I had that interview and they were gracious enough to give me the job with the, you know, very little skill set I had at the time. I've been really fortunate enough to have so many different experiences with Momentum. I mean, I've been on staff for 5 years now. I think this will be my 5th conference on staff. And so definitely have had so many awesome opportunities and have been through so many different phases of Momentum. And I think as I'm kind of stepping out, looking back, I'm just really grateful. I'm just really grateful to people like you, Eric, who definitely have trusted me and advocated for me, and so many other people on our staff that I could name. And so definitely is bittersweet, but it's just awesome to see how, man, God has really just equipped me through Momentum and as I've been able to take on different projects and work through different challenges and aspects. And it's really cool to see how he's used that. And in this transitional phase, it's kind of scary, but I feel very confident and very just very confident that God has used this part of my life and what I've learned,
Yeah,
and He's going to take it, and I'm going to be able to use that in the next part as well. So
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's been really good to have you on the team. I've obviously worked closely with you on a lot of the communication things as I get to go out and travel and speak at different conferences and go to be the exhibitor booth guy and all the things. And so there's things that we've worked together closely on to create content and communication and think through how do we communicate these things and newsletters and all the things. So, Delaney, good job. You've grown and matured
thanks.
in so many ways. And I honestly, I think you're insanely gifted, and I cannot wait to see what God does in and through your life and how He uses you. So, uh, Delaney, if you were to go back, people always ask this question. I just thought, like, if you're to go back, right, and talk to 16-year-old Delaney, that student at Momentum Youth Conference, maybe a junior in high school, and what things do you know now that you would want to tell her then, or maybe a different side of the
Yeah.
question, what were things that you were nervous or anxious about that you would want to like quell her fears on?
Yeah, that's a great question. Definitely one that is overwhelming. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just think about when I was 16, I was at Momentum Youth Conference. Like that is what my friends and I looked forward to every summer. And I remember, before it was kind of like the Momentum collective band, whatever we're calling it, I don't really know. It was Jordan Howerton band, and it was just like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, those guys are so cool. Like they're so awesome. And like it's so crazy now, like looking back, you know, I don't think 16-year-old me would have believed me if I was like, "Hey, you're gonna like be the band in 5 years." I'd be like, "What?" Like that's crazy. Like, and so it's just crazy, like the opportunity that myself like, I've gotten, that our band as a whole has gotten, and that's definitely something we don't take lightly.
Mhm.
Every year, will this be? I don't know. This is gonna be our fourth, maybe
Yeah, I was
fifth
trying
year.
to.
I
I
think I guess 20 Momentum on the Road, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025.
Yeah,
Tw- er,
this
wait.
is 26 now.
Yeah. So has it been 6 years? Have we?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I love that you're counting.
I just like, I don't even know. Listen, Eric.
Delaney,
Also,
listen.
for context, I just want everyone to know. I just want everyone to know we are filming this podcast like a week before conference.
Oh
So there
yeah,
are
so
so
fun.
many other places my mind is right now. I'm
Hmm.
like, I
Yeah,
just need to
for
count.
sure. For sure.
Anyway, but yeah, so we've been doing it a long time. Go on, go ahead.
Yeah. I figured out the other day that this year is my 30th year at Momentum Youth Conference. Now
Whoa,
I started as a going into or coming out of middle school, I guess. So yeah. And then was a youth pastor for a long time, but yeah,
so basically
30
you're
years.
old.
I know. But I had to count on fingers and toes and all over again because
Makes sense.
uh
So anyway, yeah, it's been so amazing that however many years we've been able to do this, like we don't take it lightly. Like
for
we
sure.
understand like what a privilege it is, first of all, and also what like, not in a, I don't know. We're like burdened. Like we're burdened for the gospel. And like we want to make sure that like we are going in and our hearts are in the right place and our minds are in the right place because yeah, this is serious. Like we're attending
Mhm.
conference with so many kids who don't know who Jesus is. And so
Mhm.
making sure that we're doing everything that we can, but most importantly, leaning into the person of Jesus and the Holy Spirit to just steward what we've been given well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that's what I would say, like, on the band side. It's funny because I don't know, I never pictured myself working for Momentum or really working in, like, marketing communications. Like, I guess looking back on, like, how I grew up and the things I was really interested in, it definitely makes sense. But yeah, I think it's just this it really is, I believe, something that God has just developed in my life, and He's the one who's, like, gifted me in this way and has given me these opportunities. And so I don't know, I guess too, I mean, I need to remind my present self of this every single day, but it's just that, you know, as much as I want to worry and plan and try to get ahead of things, it's like I don't need to do that. Like God is not asking me to work harder. He's not asking me to have it all figured out. He's asking me to like rest in him and follow him and like
Mhm.
that's it, and
Yeah.
everything else will follow. And I mean, his plans and his ideas for my life are going to be so much better than anything I could ever plan out myself. And I think just where I've been these last 5 years with Momentum and even to where I'm going is just like a testament to that, where it's like
Yeah.
nothing I have has been because I've worked so hard for it. It's like it literally is all like a gift from God. Like these things have been like brought to me and I'm just really grateful. So I guess that's probably what
Yeah.
I would say. Because I
Nice.
think everyone needs to hear that.
For sure. I like that you remind yourself of that all the time. I think we all should do that. Yeah. Yeah, I think Delaney, when you look at like Momentum Ministry Partners as an organization, and you think about like what we're known for, we're probably
Mm,
known for our youth partnership side. A lot of people just naturally think of our youth conference and maybe our urban centers, and even people think of our urban centers as primarily for youth, for teenagers. And while that's not the case, we just had a church that brought their pastoral staff to an
Nice.
urban center and said they need their heart broken for the lost again. We think of ourselves as a leadership development organization. We say we want to help equip people today. We want to create those transformative moments where then people can step into that leadership, like you were just saying, where they begin to have the confidence and they begin to see the gifts that God's given them, and then the part that they can play in his kingdom. So,
Yeah.
Delaney, momentum, in a sense, took a chance on you kind of early. What did it mean to have people actually put their trust in you before you were even fully ready or confident in those things yourself? Speak into
Yeah.
that a little bit.
It's funny because I don't think I've ever like realized that like until like right now, because it's like I'm leaving. It's a bummer. Like I know, you know, it's just a big change. And
Mhm.
I think looking back, it's funny because I don't know that I viewed it as like, oh, they're taking a chance on me. Like I think I definitely um knew. I was like, I think I'll get this job. I don't know. Well, I guess
Yeah.
we'll see. And then very quickly I learned, I'm like, oh, like this is all very new. I need to like definitely like fit the part, like whatever. And I feel like I was very intentional about, learning new skills, making sure that I was constantly like developing and yeah,
Mhm.
just really trying to do my best because not only, was this work that it's like I was making, I want to be proud of, but I was making it for an organization that meant a lot to me and that I knew a lot of different people were going to see. And so definitely wanted to give it my best. I guess looking back now, like I said, I'm just really grateful. I think it's one of those things that only the Lord was able to like bring together. Because
Mm.
you've got a great point. Like looking back from your perspective, like I didn't have much experience or many things to show you, like from a portfolio standpoint. But it was kind of just like, hey, we need someone. Let's
Yeah.
see what happens. And I
Yep.
just really think God has used that, and I'm just really, really grateful,
Mm.
for that and just for him and the way that he has orchestrated all of this. And I'm just grateful for momentum too, like I've just said, through all these different phases of my life, from student to volunteer to staff. It's just something that I could have never planned out myself.
Yeah, I think in ministry, in churches, a lot of times there are crazy talented people all around us, and God has a it's like God has a purpose and a plan for everyone. And yet, as pastors or bosses or ministry leaders or whatever your role is, you're sitting there probably thinking like, we need help. We need help in this area, or if only we had somebody who could do this, this, or this, right? And the reality is, those people are more than likely sitting in your church or right around you.
Yeah,
You just don't know the gifts and abilities that they have. And so I think
yeah,
even this is a great example. Like for us, we put out word. We said, we had uh I, I think Jeff and I have even done podcasts on internships, right? Go back and listen to that one. But you don't hire an intern when you need to hire a staff member, but you hire interns to be able to like vet them and figure out like what are their gifting, what are their skill sets, are they a good fit in your culture, your work environment, and you proved that to be true, and you fit well within our team, the gifts that God had given you, and so ended up wearing a lot of hats on our team, and I think that was a fun thing to see, and we felt like we could kind of keep giving you more and more. And as you rose to the challenge for each of those things, we're like, okay, Delaney's killing it in these areas. And so it's just been fun to see that journey, to see that growth. I think that's how any of us in ministry have gotten our job. Like even
Yeah.
senior pastors, when I ask them, when I talk to all these senior pastors, I'm like, hey, who took a chance on you when you were first starting out? And they can tell you
Yeah.
story after story after story of people who did exactly that for them. And that's why they're in ministry today. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, let's just use that as a reminder that it is so imperative to continue to see young people around you and
Yeah.
invest in them. Give them an opportunity. So,
Yeah. And I
yeah,
think
speaking of that, some.
it just all comes back, I think, to like relationship and that I think knowing the year before, a couple months before, like I had done Momentum on the road, like y- Momentum staff, like got to know me, saw me
Yep.
serving, and like I began to develop these relationships. And so I just think that's what it all comes down to. And even I know I'm a part of
Mhm.
Grace Church here in Bath. And so, Eric, you kind of knew who I was. Jeff kind of knew who I was. And so it really, that I just think that's just a huge thing in my life right now, even just like looking ahead to like my next adventure and keeping in mind, like, how can I invest into all these relationships over here and still maintain the ones back here? Because it's like all of that has been given to me
Mm.
by the Lord. And so even though, I'm leaving Momentum as a staff, I still want to steward all these relationships really well because
Mhm.
like those have been brought to me like by the Lord. And so in this next phase of my life, even though that's going to look a little different, still something I definitely
Mm.
want to maintain. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think
Yeah.
that's great.
So Delaney, speaking to maybe there's young people listening to this. Maybe there's some students who are listening because they see you on here and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we know her. She's in the band." Whatever. Uh, Speaking to that, like if you're a young person and you're listening to this and you're like, I want to be in the band. I want to have a bigger opportunity, and it's in your heart. I love, first of all, I want to point this out. You started by serving and building relationships. You were vulnerable and allowed us to get to know you. And all of that was made possible because you had a servant leader heart. So props to you on that. There's a pathway for you. But Delaney, what other things would you say to young people who are listening and they're wanting a bigger opportunity in some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form?
Yeah. That's such a good question. I would say, first of all, like, you are so much more capable of things than you think. I think looking back on these past 5 years of my life, not only have I gotten opportunities with Momentum that I thought weren't possible for me, and still stuff that I have to remind myself, oh my gosh, I never want to take this for granted. But even alongside Momentum, just like, you know, there were times where it's like I worked for Momentum and then I had another job and then I served at church in my young adult ministry and then on the weekend. And it was really hard, but it was so
Mm,
worth it because I knew it's like, okay, the
mm,
Lord has given me all these things and I want to find joy in that. And I want to steward all of them well. And,
mm,
when you realize that all of that is just such a gift from God, like your life just feels so full. And I just am so filled with like gratitude. So I would say you're so much more capable of things than you think you are. I would say second of all, you don't have to worry about things that God is going to take care of. And I know that sounds so simple. I just think I forget so often. I said it earlier, but God is not asking me. I'm rereading Ruth's Elimination of Hurry by Jean-Marc Comer. It's
oh,
such a good book.
nice. Yeah.
And so if you have not read that, definitely read that. It's great. But God isn't asking me to work harder and try to like climb some ladder. He's asking me to just rest in him.
Mm,
Kind of getting into like where I'm going next after Momentum. I know we'll get there, but like about a year ago, year and a half ago, God just like put this desire in my heart that was just kind of like I really want to do more with like social media and marketing, and like I love doing it for Momentum, but like I want more of that. Like I'm just so passionate about it. God has gifted me this way creatively, and I was trying to like seek out some opportunities, but nothing was really working out. And then one day, I literally was just on campus at school and ran into another mutual friend who also goes to Grace, and he was like, "Hey, like my buddies who do this social media stuff are looking for someone else to help them out." I was like, "Whoa, really?" And so I just like started doing more and more work with them. And again, to me, I'm like, that's just a perfect example of like, you know, God put that like desire and that or that talent or dream like in your heart for a
Yeah.
reason. And everything is perfect in his timing. And so even though like I felt that months before and I was trying and it wasn't working out, it's like I just had to be patient,
Yeah.
and I just had to trust that like the Lord was going to do it, and like he was going to be the one to actually like see that out. And so that's just one small example. I could talk about that so much more, but yeah, all that to say, obviously, work hard. Like that is important. Like steward the things you have well. Don't just like sit and wait for something, but
Hmm.
God will make it happen. God will do the things that he said he is going to do. And it's so cool to you know, see that happen when you serve God and you love God, like and you actually like are seeking first the kingdom. Because I think, that's something in our culture that um is a big lie, that it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, if I follow God so that I can get rich or whatever. And it's like, nope, God doesn't promise you any of that. But
Right.
seek first the kingdom and its treasures, and like everything else it'll follow. And it's just so amazing to see that play out. And even in this next phase of my life, this transition phase, I've just been able to see more and more of that. And it's like scary. It's scary to step into something new. I was just talking with Donnie, our president, this morning. We had a meeting, and I was like, I kind of forgot what it feels like to be in this like transition phase. Like it's scary, especially like I'm I'm kind of an adult. Like I still don't feel like I am. I am an adult.
A
But
little
like
secret that doesn't ever change.
yeah, I don't feel like it. But the last time I was in a transition phase, I don't know, I was like maybe like 18 or 19, like high school to college. Like the stakes
Mm.
weren't very high. And I'm not gonna lie, they're still not like that high, but they're higher than they were. And
Yeah.
so it's scary to go off and do something on your own, but it's teaching me to trust God in a new way. And it's allowing me to see him work in my life in new
There you
ways.
go.
So,
I like that. I like that. All right, Delaney, let's go one click deeper in this conversation.
okay.
The kind of leadership development. I think there's some good truths and examples here that we could share that would be helpful for our listeners that a lot of times are ministry professionals and pastors in church world. So, in some of the, if you're willing, maybe share some of the mistakes maybe that you made early on or things that were part of your learning curve, and what did the process look like of like receiving feedback on that, and how does all of those things play into the trajectory of the growth that you're talking about, or like how you've even used those things to learn and grow in your own skill set and ability.
Yeah. I would say it definitely was a challenge just because momentum really was the first, I guess, professional job that like I had. And it definitely was the job that made me realize like, oh, like I want to go into marketing communications. And so, like I kind of said earlier, I wanted to create work that I was proud of.
Mm.
I think with that, definitely when you create something that you're proud of and somebody else doesn't like it or has an opinion on it, that's really hard. And it's such a weird tension because as a creative, someone told me this a long time ago, and I'm still trying to wrestle with it. They said, don't take feedback on your work personally.
Mm.
And I think there's a time and a place for that. Because to me, taking something personally when it comes to something that I have created, I have like put my like heart and soul into and like my God-given talents into, there's a level, and I take this with a grain of salt, where it's like, if I'm not taking it personally, did I really care about it in the first place? And
Mm.
so that's where my mind goes. But I think, a level deeper to that, and I think the side of this that actually is helpful, apart from like taking it personally, there's a time and a place to like die to myself, put that aside. And when I receive that feedback, remembering like my creative gifts are a gift that God has given me. My creative gifts aren't who I am. And that's
Mhm.
been really helpful for me to separate and like to quote
Mm.
unquote not take it personally.
Yeah.
So that's been a big one. And
Yeah.
it's tough for creatives because, like I said, it's like, yeah, I made this, and it's vulnerable to share work that you've made with other people and like open it
Yeah.
up to say like, let me know what you think. And especially
Mhm.
most of the time, if I'm just being honest, like sharing the work with people who like probably wouldn't consider themselves creative, and like having to, kind of bite my tongue and be like, well, what do you know what you're talking about? Like, you're not a creative or like whatever. But, learning to just still respect opinions, take feedback, understand that it's like, yeah, this person's in the position they're in for a reason. They get to
Mhm.
have the final say, and I'm not. And that's
Yeah.
okay. Because this is the position God has placed me in right now. That's the position He's
Mhm.
placed them in. And so, gotta respect authority in that way. Um, I think on the other side of that, as there's a time and a place to take feedback and receive feedback, it's also been really helpful for me to learn how to navigate other tensions in the workplace. Because let's be honest, momentum's awesome, but we're not perfect. We are,
Correct.
everyone is a sinner, everybody has opinions, there's conflict, and it's great. It's just the way the world is. And I think I've just appreciated working for momentum and learning how to handle certain conflicts. They don't happen often, but when they do, handling them in an environment where I know like everybody's goal really is to serve and follow Jesus. And I think that has just been huge. And I
Yeah.
think that is just equipping me even more to go into the workplace, into the world where it's like, that's not a given that everyone I'm going to be working with, their goal is
Yeah.
not always going to be to serve and follow Jesus. But it's just given me an opportunity to kind of get to know myself better professionally, how to
Mhm.
handle those situations, and how to also like stand up for myself in some situations. Because I'm not always right. I'm not always right. I know maybe sometimes I act like it, but I'm not.
Uh,
And that's okay. But then,
yeah.
there's times and places to be able to, you know, work things out with people, learn how to stand your ground. And I don't think I've ever had an issue with that. I'm an Enneagram 8, if that gives anyone any insight. So I'm not too shy when it comes to
Mhm.
expressing my opinion. But all that to say, it's been so amazing just being able to not only serve momentum with my gifts in this way, but in being able to explore, just having an opportunity to learn in
Yeah.
so many different areas. It's been awesome.
Yeah. I appreciate that you've been teachable in those ways, even when you clearly have poured your heart into a project and you've created something that you feel proud about and that you, in your opinion, checks all the boxes. And if myself or somebody else on the team's like, we want to make these tweaks or these edits, you're always willing to do it and get on board, even though you might not agree. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Uh, it is funny because I think there are a lot of times like when people and you hit the nail on the head. We all make mistakes. Everyone is sinful. We all have conflict. Where every church, every ministry has conflict for sure. There are things that we could do better. We could communicate better. 100%. How you do that matters, right? So
Yeah.
I hope that we've never come and been like, "Hey, you misspelled this word, dummy." Like that's not kind or helpful, right? But
Yeah.
to say
Yeah.
like, "Hey, did you catch this? No, thank you for having my back. Oh my word."
Yeah.
Whatever. And so those things they matter
Yeah.
greatly how we
Yeah.
communicate and being able
Yeah.
to articulate and know, like you said, we're all trying to love Jesus, point people to him, serve the church. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Serving people well. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Delaney, I definitely think you talked about the creative side. You are probably one of the most creative people on our team.
Oh gosh.
Where does your creativity come from? What are maybe even in the past 5 years? You said you were starting out, as a ministry student. You were thinking about going into ministry. You were thinking about, you were working at a hair salon, doing administrative things, maybe like where does the creativity come from? How do you refuel your creative process when you kind of hit a wall or you're stuck on a project or something? What have you found helpful in that process to maybe reignite or handle those creative roadblocks?
Yeah. I think I kind of touched on this earlier a little bit. I guess when it comes to yeah, where it comes from, it's just like I said, I just really think it is just such a God-given thing, like something I've always like loved, has been a part of my life since I was young. And like I said, momentum has just given me so many opportunities. Like there's so many projects where it's like I didn't know I could do this until I did it. Like,
Hmm.
I guess a great example would be like I don't even know, 3 or 4 years ago, Bethany, was our communications director at the time. Bethany is Eric's wife, for those of you who may not know. She was on staff with Momentum, and she was my boss at one point. And she came to me and she was like, "Hey," she was like, "Can you design the theme logo for this year's conference?" And I was like, "What?" I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Sure." I'm like, "That's exciting. I guess I can try." And that was a big thing to me. As I mean, I was probably 19, which is crazy to think about because when I was in high school, it's like the theme was like such a big thing. It was a big deal. And so to be able to be the one who was kind of like coming up with the visuals around that, I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. And then I did it. And then, the first year, like see it like on all the name tags and the screens and everywhere. I was like, this is awesome. And then
Yeah.
I did it again the next year. And then I did it the year after that. And so it was just like, wow, that's something like I didn't know I was capable of, but I just think, there's projects like that I complete. And at the end of every project, I'm like, wow, just like, thank you, God. Because like, I just think about all these things in my life where I'm like, I couldn't do this, like, apart from him, like, in
Mhm.
my own strength. And even, man, I just think of so many different projects or events, the way that has happened where it just like all fits together so seamlessly and like there's no other explanation for how perfect it ends up being despite like our flawed efforts, then like wow, that literally could have only been the Lord, like
Yeah.
making all things work together.
Mm.
And so with that, I mean, doing everything from like conference logos to name tags or different designs, like there definitely have been a lot of like roadblocks and things that get in the way. And again, this is like the third time I've said it, but I think for me, the most valuable thing is knowing when to kind of just like stop and like put it away. Because sometimes like less is more, like either with a design or when it comes to like how much time you're putting into something and whatever. And I mean, I definitely don't do this as often as I should, but sometimes it's even just a simple like, Lord, just pray that like you would help me finish this project. Because it's like as small as that sounds, like it just makes like the biggest difference. And
Yep.
that is a prayer I pray, like even like now going into my next adventure when I'm working with freelance clients, where it's like, Lord, I just pray that like, you'd be in this venture and that you would be with me while I'm like running this account, because like I genuinely want to do a good job, because like I want to do everything that I do for you and I want to reflect you. And so, I mean, it's as simple as that. Just asking God for help in all things, even when it comes to, you know, things in my job, things in a
Yeah.
career. So, yeah.
I love my wife. I love my wife. She's very smart. She's very talented as well. And one of her favorite phrases that she will repeat to me in situations like what you were just describing is done is better than perfect. And I'll get hung up on a project. I'm the perfectionist. I want it to be perfect in every way because I think that perfect project reflects on me as a perfect person. And the reality is, I'm not perfect. I don't do perfect work. Only our Savior does. And done is better
Yeah.
than perfect. And so if I'm getting hung up on something to the point where it's not done and the team needs my part that I'm playing or my contribution, then I need to just get it done. And like what you're saying,
Yeah.
trust that it's, that God has given you these gifts and abilities. And so you do your part. Yeah.
Yep.
Delaney, how many times have you been asked for this year, Momentum Youth Conference 2026, what the theme is?
Oh yeah. Said quite a few. And then it's been
Yeah.
a whole explanation. Yeah.
I bet people have DM'd us on social that
Yep.
I've gotten text messages and emails. People have asked, can we just let the cat out of the bag? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
this is going to come out
I guess so.
literally a couple days
This
before
it's
Youth
gonna
Conference.
come out in a couple days.
There's not necessarily a theme for this year. It's the first year that we tried something where we
Yeah,
don't have an external theme. We have an internal theme. It Delaney did a good job of just kind of even explaining all the parts that go into creating a youth conference and running with it. And when you have
so crazy.
9 different session speakers for the week, speakers are known to go a little different direction sometimes. So even in past years where we would say, hey, the theme is whatever, fill in the blank, then, a speaker might go a little one way or the other, and then
Yep.
we get feedback that the theme didn't work, or it wasn't clear, or it didn't get carried all the way through, and we're like, we know. we
Yeah.
know. And we're not trying to throw any speakers under the bus, because they're doing what God told them to say, and they're speaking and that's why we bring them.
Yeah.
So
And it's also
speak
they're
into that a
also
little.
creatives, and like,
Yes.
yeah, that's it. Like they,
Yeah.
you got to do what, the Lord has put on your heart. And it's
Yeah.
really cool, even though, sometimes it's like, oh, may not be the theme or whatever. And some people might have feedback on that. From my perspective, I think hopefully from your perspective too, Eric, it's like, wow, God has just like worked through every single one of them. And like at the end of conference, it's just like, we're just like in awe. We're like, whoa,
Yeah.
like God did that. And it all worked out. It probably wasn't perfect, but he used it. And that's all that really matters. And so, it's going to be different this year, but it's going to be great. I'm excited. And I think we're only going to continue to change and learn from each other. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think for us on our end of planning the event, there are so many moving parts and pieces. So to have one thing that truly does matter, but not to set an expectation too harshly in one direction. So for us, I'll just speak into this a little bit. This year, our internal theme is kind of like the gospel. It's good news. And so, we say at Grace Church, we want people to know it, live it, and give it away. And it is the gospel. That's what we would say, right? And so for our internal operating theme this year is we really want students to know fully and understand the power of the gospel, to live it out, to experience it firsthand for themselves. And then how do you give it away to other people? How do you tell other people about it? So that's where like you can see the theme subtly. Delaney, you've done a beautiful job of creating graphics and a theme and a brand for this year's youth conference, kind of around newspaper, around good news. So around the news, it's kind of fun just to see those little pieces, and I'm excited just as that starts to click for people, for them to realize like, oh my word, there is a purpose, there is a plan, and to see what God does with that. So it'll be fun.
Might I have to explain what a newspaper is to a couple students, but
that's so true.
We learned that. But
that's okay. They're like, oh, those things that my parents used to start the bonfire. Yeah. When we go camping. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Delaney, let's do a little rapid fire here, and just kind of hit some of these things. Like, what, in looking back at your time at Momentum, what's a funny, like, behind the scenes moment? And you can, I threw you under the bus earlier. You can throw me under the bus. I know that you teased me about. Delaney could make a like 2-hour blooper reel of my goofball things that I've done, but
probably
for you personally, what's a fun or funny behind the scenes moment?
Man, I don't know. I can't think of just one. I mean, the most that come to my mind or probably have to do with like being on the band at youth conference. Every year, for some reason, that there's a group of students who like ask us to sign their kitchen appliance. Like it's toaster, blender, it's been different things. And I guess I also just want to like set the record straight. Like the band will be so happy to sign anything you want, but I just want you to know my signature is not worth anything. So
seriously,
it's funny. They're all kind of like, you guys go on tour like after this? And I'm like, no, I'm going back to my job in Akron, Ohio. So that's just always kind of funny, but it's so
Mhm.
fun to get to connect with students and
Yep.
um yeah, it's awesome. It's great.
I love it. Very
Yeah.
fun. All right. In terms of podcast, since you've produced these and listened to them and done a lot of editing and some you've done more
Yeah.
work on than others, what's a guest that's made the biggest impression on you?
Hmm. That's a good question. Honestly, I love when we get to sit down or when you get to sit down with people are who have just experienced momentum and momentum has been a big part of their lives. People like Dan Gregory, people even man, this isn't someone who I guess really has been part of momentum for a long time. He's been a speaker twice now. I love Mark Clark. He's awesome. His podcast, I just feel like there's always just so much
Yeah.
practical truth and wisdom and insight. So definitely go listen to those if
Yeah,
you have
for
it.
sure. Very good. All right.
Yeah.
As you look back on all the seasons of the podcast, what is one episode that you would say is a go-to, must listen, go back, check out this episode?
Man,
It
that's a
doesn't even have to be season 5, even though we're
yeah.
wrapping up season 5, but
Yeah. Um really long time ago. It's kind of a random poll. This might be like season 2 or 3. I think you guys did an episode on female leadership in the church. And I just felt like the way that conversation was handled was with a lot of wisdom and insight and again just practical truth for I think a topic that yeah, is talked about a lot. So
what was there a
it's a good
guest for
one.
that one, or was that one Jeff and I?
I think it was just you and Jeff.
Yeah. What I remember, I asked because I remember Jeff and I being nervous about that episode, and I joked with him before we even started recording. I'm like, is it weird that two dudes are going to talk about women in leadership? And yet I'm glad that that was your takeaway, because that was our heart. We really
Yeah.
want. And then throughout the rest of the episodes, throughout the rest of the seasons, we've had obviously other guests on to speak about those things. But I think when I look back to like season 1 of the podcast, it really was just Jeff and I trying to build trust and for people to
Yeah.
know who we are. We're kind of the new leaders of Momentum, and we want people to know who we are, and we want to build trust. And so, yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. It's a good
Delaney,
one.
in season 5 this past year, what was there an episode that stands out to you? Is there something that you learned, a nugget of truth, even maybe a quote from one of these episodes?
Yeah. I don't know if I have a quote. You're asking for some real specific
It's
things
okay.
here.
I know they all blend together and we move quick. I
Yeah,
couldn't
it's
do it
okay.
either.
It's all good. Yeah, I would say hmm. Yeah, I don't know. There have been so many good guests. I mean, especially every time you do a podcast with a youth conference speaker, it's just always awesome. Um, yeah, you and Dane did a great podcast together last youth conference, just talking about I think it was just like a youth pastor Q&A. And
Hmm.
I just remember Dane talking about, spiritual health and that is the most important thing. Like even over like getting your job done. Because if you're getting your job done but you're not spiritually healthy, it's like what cost is that coming at? And so I think that's been huge. Like even just for me, like, I'm not a pastor or anything like that, but I am a worship leader and I take that seriously. At the weekend services at our church and at our young adult ministry, like I always want to make sure that my heart is in the right place and like I have a community of worship leaders that I can share with, that I can confess with. And so I just thought that episode was great. I even
Yeah,
got something from it, even though, I'm not a pastor. It's still translated.
good. All right. You've created a lot of videos, reels, TikToks, videos that we post on social media. Some fun, some
Yeah.
silly, some serious. What
Yeah.
is you've had several go viral.
Yeah.
What's your favorite video that you've ever made for
Favorite
Momentum?
video. Oh man. I didn't make it, but I helped produce them, and it would definitely be John and Dane in the morning at night. That's what 100% would be. And hey,
Yeah.
if you're coming to youth conference, you might just get some more of those this year.
There you
So
go. Be excited.
it'll be good. Yeah, those
Be
are great.
excited. I love it. I always love the ones that like other people on our team, when you make a video and other people on the team send it to me and they're like, who approved
What does this mean?
Did you approve this? And I'm like, yes, I did. I think it's fun.
Funny. I know, I'm like going through our Instagram right now. I just had a meeting about social media this morning, and we were like, yeah, it's great. It's so good. That's the thing. Sometimes you just like cannot explain a trend, but all that matters is that the students get it. It's for them.
All right. How do you make a trendy viral video? What goes into it?
You asking me this?
Yeah.
Man, gosh, I don't know.
I'm gonna start a TikTok and I'm gonna go viral.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I would say for momentum, it's funny because we've had a couple of videos that have just done really well because like students are a part of them or the youth leaders or whatever. But you know, I really like taking things that are mainstream and not necessarily like Christian content, but then kind of like taking it and like making it Christian content and like giving some kind of meaning behind it to the Momentum brand. And, you know, more importantly, to the Momentum brand, it's like, how do we talk about following Jesus? How do we talk about our faith through this? And there have been a lot of posts like that have done really well. And it's amazing when that happens. And I get really excited because, you know, it's like, wow, like a lot of people love this. They're engaging with it. And it's bringing more people to Momentum's page to hear about what we do and who we are and, you know, our mission. And that's definitely the most important thing. So, yeah, nice. I don't have like a secret sauce, but that's just my thought process.
All right. I've two more questions for you.
Okay.
This next one is from my daughter, Addie. She wants to know, when is the next Del Ruth album coming out?
Oh gosh, Addie, no. Yeah. I don't know.
Even just a single.
I have no idea. I'll send Addie my demos.
There you
I'll
go.
send her the demos.
I'm not kidding you guys. My daughter is 7 and she listens to Del Ruth and Taylor Swift on repeat on Alexa in her room. It is hilarious.
Such an honor.
When we go into the office, she will often like, Dad, can I go write Miss Delaney a note? And the one time we had you over to our house for dinner this summer, and she looked over and she was like, Dad, Del Ruth is in our house. To her, to my daughter, you are a very big deal. So,
it's so sweet.
You introduced K-pop Demon Hunters to her too.
Yes. Yes.
Oh good. Man. All right, Delaney. Last question. This one's for real. What will you miss most about working at Momentum?
Yeah. I will definitely miss the people. That's probably the biggest one. Yeah, right now I work too, like in our Grace Church offices. Momentum shares a space with Grace, and so it's gonna be different. You know, not having a place to come into and like see everyone's face. I'm gonna be working from home, and my rhythms are gonna look a lot different day to day. But just those relationships, and I'm excited to still be intentional with those relationships and actually probably have more time to invest into those relationships. But yeah, the people and like I said too, still planning on being a part of all things Momentum, even though won't be a part of my job, still is a part of my life. And so it's just gonna look different and it's gonna be weird, but it's exciting. And I'm looking forward to being at conference this year and next year and however many years after that the Lord allows. So
fun.
Yeah.
Well, Delaney, thank you for being a part of this episode, but also more than that, a part of Momentum Ministry Partners and all the work that you have done. So on behalf of myself and the team, we are incredibly blessed for the work that you have done and the time that you've given and all that you have put into making Momentum Ministry Partners a brand and a trusted name that people would know. And so you've done a phenomenal job. I just want to publicly say that. And now we're going to stop.
Oh, thanks,
because
Eric.
I will start crying.
I'm
not trying to do that on camera. So
appreciate it. Thank you.
Seriously, thank you. To our listeners, we really do hope that you have been blessed by this content, by the Momentum Ministry Partners podcast, by our social media, by our ministry as a whole. We want to partner with you. We want to partner with you well. And so a lot of what Delaney shared through her heart reflects the nature and the character of our heartbeat as an organization. We want to serve well, and we want to point people to Jesus. So we hope that you can do that in and through your ministry as well, that you can identify young, creative people that would have a part to play, and that you would unleash them to be a part of building God's church. So that'll do it for not only today's episode, but season 5. Stay tuned, because in late August or early September, we'll call it maybe early September, the Momentum podcast will be back. We'll have some new episodes that we'll be filming and recording at Momentum Youth Conference with our speakers, but we also have some special surprises up our sleeve for next year. So you have to come back and check it out. Thank you. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Momentum Ministry Partners podcast. If you found this episode helpful, would you subscribe, rate, and leave us a review? That helps more people discover this podcast. We'd also love for you to share this episode with someone in your network who could benefit from the conversation. Because we want to be your go-to and most trusted resource, we'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a topic you'd like us to cover in a future episode, send us an email to info@buildmomentum.org. Or you can send us a DM on any of our social media platforms. And if you want to learn more about Momentum Youth Conference, Urban Centers, Grace College Akron, Momentum Marketplace, or Momentum Pro, head over to buildmomentum.org. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.